Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Thanks for stopping by. Just kidding. Welcome back to Kev's Kitchen, episode 2 of the revamp. I just wanted to do a little different style episode today. I told you from the first episode that we probably weren't going to only do cooking anymore, that I wanted to do other things, whether it was trying food, giving you tips and stuff. So today is one of those videos where I'm going to give you tips on how to elevate your cooking, all right? Specifically the meats department. If you know anything about me, you know I am the meats guy, right? So I just wanted to make a video where I can give some tips to you guys, show you some things that I use with my cooking, and that's kind of helped me elevate my cooking over the last couple of years. It's going to be pretty informative, I hope. If not, you can. So the first thing we have here are just some light tools of the trade, okay? I tell everybody, get a cutting board. It's great for presentation. It's also great to actually use to cut on, right? This one was a gift, and I'm gonna hold it up so you can see it, but you've also seen it in the intro as well. It says Kev's Kitchen, the man, the meat, the legend, in more ways than one. But anyway, ultimately, I like this because of the reservoir here, right? When you cut something, sometimes the juice flows, and if you have a regular cutting board, it's just spilling all over the counter or wherever, the table, whatever you have it on. So you get one of these, you can get them online. They're pretty cheap, pretty affordable, but it catches all of that, makes it a little bit easier, right? Not as messy. However, I do have other cutting boards, and I like the kinds with the different patterns of the colors of the wood, things like that. Those are the fancy ones you want to bring out, especially when you have like a nice cut of meat that you cook or grill or whatever it is, and you want to do it all up. So the other thing, these little, I call them bear claws. They're obviously not bear claws, but you've probably seen these on some barbecue channels and things like that, Instagram, whatever. You can get them anywhere. I found these at Lowe's. The brand is Oklahoma Joe's, but they're on Amazon and everything. If you shred any kind of meat, whether it's chicken, pork, beef, it just makes the job a lot easier. You stick one in, grab the other end, just start shredding. Very useful. Not necessary. You can use 2 forks if you want. It just takes the pressure off using just the strength of your grip to use little forks or whatever. So I like them. Cheap buy. I don't think I spent more than like $10 on them. The last thing here I'd like to show you is this little knife that I got. You might not be able to pick up the little pattern on the blade from there, but it's Japanese steel. I got it off Amazon. It wasn't the most expensive knife. It wasn't the cheapest knife. Whatever knife you pick, whether it's Japanese steel, German steel, or whatever, they have their different pros and cons. So whatever feels comfortable for you. This is the sharpest knife I've ever used. It cuts through everything very easily. The blade, when it comes to Japanese steel, the blades are very thin, so you have to be very careful not to hit it on things, different surfaces, even bone. You got to be very careful with it because you don't want to damage the blade because it's so thin. But your knife should come with a sharpener. Should be able to take care of it overall. Like I said before, you don't have to have this knife, any kind of knife, okay? Just something that's going to be multi-purpose and is going to cut very well. The last thing you want to do, especially if you make videos and things, you might have a good piece of meat that you just cooked and it may come out great, but when you try to cut and it doesn't look like it's effortless, people are going to hate on you in the comments. I see it all the time. And it probably could just be because your knife is not that great, but they can't tell because they see you struggling, right? So get a nice sharp knife, whatever you choose, it's fine by me. And like I said, take your time, add to your collection slowly. You don't have to buy a knife today. There are other things that are more important. So the next thing, which is definitely up there as, the most important thing in terms of the process of cooking, thermometers. All right, now I cannot stress this enough. If you follow me on any social media, you've probably seen that I've cooked some very delicious looking food, very perfectly cooked meats. I was not always great at that, okay? I've always made good food, but before I started using thermometers, it was hit or miss at times, right? You had to go with the old method of just going by the feel, taking the tongs and pressing on the meat to see if you think it's ready to be pulled, and rookie mistakes. cutting it while grilling when I was younger. Just things like that. You can avoid all of that with a good meat thermometer. Right now, there are generally two types. Now there are three. There are infrared now too, but I don't have any of those. I have never used those yet. But the two easiest types to work with, right, when it comes to cooking your meats, you have the leave-in thermometers, and then you have the quick read thermometers. Okay, all of these here are ThermoPro. I'm not sponsored by them, nothing like that. It's just what I used and I liked it. I bought more of their stuff. You get on Amazon, there are so many other brands. Thermapen is a good one as well. Just look at the reviews, all right? Amazon has a lot of affordable ones. You shouldn't spend no more than like $20 to $25 on, and I think the 25 might have been this bundle right here. What this is a leave-in thermometer, okay? That means, for all you smart guys out there, you're gonna leave this in, okay? You're not gonna just probe and then pull it out. This is for your long cooks, right? Your barbecues and things like that, your roast. If you're unsure when to pull the meat, this takes guessing out of the equation, all right? What this piece is right here is almost like your motherboard, right? You program everything you want it to be, right? It tells you put what meat it is, the level of doneness you want, and then I think it blinks blue when it's getting close, and then the screen turns green when it's time, and it has a little alarm beep, lets you know that the meat's ready. You don't have to turn this on in order to use this. You can just leave this and check it yourself, right? But this just helps make it a little more convenient for you as the barbecuer or the baker, whatever it is you're leaving in the oven or outside. But ultimately, all you have to do, stick it in, leave it, don't touch it. Right? It's meant to be in there, long term, and it'll let you know when it's ready. I would advise, once you get a finished read, I would advise just making sure you check another area just to make sure. But other than that, you don't have to do anything with it, right? Don't put this whole thing in the grill or in the oven, or I'm gonna smack you myself, okay? Just this, close the door, close whatever it is that you have on there, and it'll do the work for you. The other part, what I use more often are these quick read thermometers, right? So this one is also ThermoPro. I got it for free just for tagging them after I got this one. But it's very simple, quick read. You turn it on, you set it to Celsius or Fahrenheit, whatever you want. You poke, it tells you within like 2 or 3 seconds. It is not rocket science. You cannot mess this up, okay? And if you do, like I said, like I always tell you, there's no hope, all right? This is nothing, okay? It's the easiest thing to do in your cooking. Prep is harder than taking the temperature. This one is the one I use most. It's pretty cool. You can flip it around, the numbers will turn, but same thing, right? Quick and easy. It tells you when it's ready. Key tip for you: if you're aiming for a certain temperature or degree or anything like that, pull it 5 degrees early, anywhere between 3 and 5 degrees early. That's my preference, but just pull it early because you want any meat that you cook to rest for a little while, generally 5 minutes, sometimes 10, but during that time when it rests, it's gonna be cooking still. So you pull a little early. If you're aiming for 140, pull at 135. If you're aiming for 135, pull it at 130. And like I said, you can't go wrong, okay? The only way you go wrong is if you don't use it. That's where you start having to guess and not guaranteeing what your final product is gonna look like. Next up, we have my favorite, seasonings, okay? I cannot tell you how many times I've had cooking from friends, parents, some family members, not many, because most of my family throws it down in the kitchen. You probably hear my dogs walking by. I try to tell them to chill, but they don't like to listen, so thanks a lot, boys. Anyway, you've probably been to a few parties, a few holiday dinners, where you just had some dry ass, bland ass type of meat that was served, right? And it was probably very hard to get through, and you probably pretended to like it. Or if you're like me, you just had to throw a bunch of gravy or some kind of sauce over it just to stomach maybe 3 bites, okay? We've all been there. But there is no excuse for that. All right. I'm going to share with you the seasonings that have been in the rotation now for probably a year, almost 2 years maybe. First up, Meat Church. Look them up on Instagram. Actually, all of these are on Instagram. That's how I found all of them. Good company, based out of Texas. The 2 that I've used so far out of the 10 they probably have, Holy Gospel, Holy Cow, steaks, pork. I found this works best on ribs, and I made a batch of baby back a couple months ago that came out amazing. Everybody loved them, and that's what this is going to be used for moving forward. Up next, Hardcore Carnivore. Hands down, my favorite steak seasoning out of all the seasonings I've used. Created in Texas as well by Jess Pryles. Look her up. Actually, I don't want to tell you to look her up because then you guys are going to have a crush on her the way I do. I'm trying to keep her for myself. But she's a barbecuer. She created this line of spices. My absolute favorite is Hardcore Carnivore Black. The gimmick behind it is activated charcoal. Gives you that contrast when you slice into your meats. And if you know anything about today's trends, you gotta slice those meats, right? That's how it's all presented now. So it gives a dark finish, and then you see that pop of pink or pop of red, however done you like your steak. It's aesthetically pleasing. Delicious. They have a red version, great for pork. I'm out of it currently, but great for pork. Camo, Amplify. Amplify is just a quick flavor booster. We add it to French fries here at the house. Don't use it too much on other things, but maybe some chicken here and there. But Camo is for your gamier meats, okay? Lamb, deer, anything like that. I love lamb. Not everybody does. It's not for everybody, and that's okay. But if you're stuck on how to make it, get some Camo. I've also heard it works great on steaks, but I've never tried it personally. Derek Wolf, Over the Fire Cooking on Instagram. He has a ton of seasonings on Spiceology.com. Spiceology is its own website that has so many different seasonings and spices. But they have partnerships with some people, and Derek Wolf is one of them. His line up front, this is all like South American inspired. So you got the adobo honey, works great with chicken. It's spicy, it's sweet, it's awesome. Gaucho Steakhouse, you ever been to a Brazilian steakhouse? This gets you close to that steak that you might try there. Delicious. Argentinian inspired garlic and herb seasoning. I don't use this on any of the meats, but it works great on veggies. I love throwing it on green beans. It just gives it a nice flair. But those 3 are actually really good, and I've only got them recently, and we use them, probably weekly. My favorite though, from his barbecue line, Chipotle garlic. Okay. When I got this, it was here. As you can see, after a couple of months, probably gone through almost half already. Delicious. I've used it on chicken. I've used it on pork. It makes the best pork chops. I recommend it. I want to try it on ribs next, and that'll be my next fun experiment to see how it turns out. I have a feeling it's going to be great. But yeah, I'll put a link for all of these so you can go on there and look for yourself. Steaks, everything in between. Also forgot to mention that all the spices on Spiceology are low sodium. So, and I don't use a lot of salt to begin with, but I recommend if you're going to use any of these ones over here, just to salt the meats first ahead of time, not a lot, and then add these, and then you should be good to go. To circle back on salts, I talked about prep, right? Finishing salts, game changer. I'm sure by now everybody knows Salt Bae. All the videos online where he's sprinkling the rock salt. It's the real deal. I can attest. I've been using them on the meats that I cook ever since, and it's been worth the investment. This one right here, you can't tell. You probably won't be able to see it that great, but it is pink. There are pink flake salts. Murray River is the company. I found it on Amazon. It was cheap, affordable, great reviews. I use it on a lot. You can throw it on your steaks after you slice it, but you can also throw it on other things as well. I've seen it thrown on veggies. I've seen pictures of people using flake salt on cookies and things like that. This little guy here I got as a gift, the Salt Experiment. As you can see, some are used more than others. I'll touch on just a couple. This one right here is a pink Hawaiian sea salt. Works great with margaritas, actually. So thanks to The Rock for sharing some recipes. But after I watched one of his videos, he started adding this to one of his margaritas. And then, you can add a little bit more for the presentation. It's aesthetically pleasing, and it also gives it a nice little taste. The other most popular one I probably use is the Sel Gris rock salt. Essentially, same thing as the flake. It's just a rock. So it's a little bit thicker. It's a little bit crunchier. You get a nice little crunch when you bite into a slice of meat that you might have just cooked, and it does the same. Has the same effect. It's just a different experience when you bite versus the flake salt. They're both good. Have a bunch. Not all of them are that great, and that's okay. It's good to know what you like and what you don't like. What works for me might not work for you, and vice versa. But finishing salts are a game changer. I highly recommend it. Take your time, buy one at a time, practice. So if you're like me, or anybody living in 2020, the last 7 months you've been going through this pandemic. So you're probably wondering why there's this empty bottle here. So I was just going to briefly explain that when I first started making a lot more dishes, I tried to come up with some sauces that could enhance the dishes that I was making. And, it's all about presentation. So I decided to go on Amazon, order a bunch of empty ones, and then just create sauces and put them in there. Didn't work out as great as I, had hoped. A couple of them do, but you really have to clip the tips here because otherwise you can't really get anything. The sauces get jammed. But anywho, I was doing that because I felt like a lot of sauces didn't have that capability at the store, right? You buy it and it's just a regular bottle. So a couple months ago, or maybe a month ago, I decided to go to the store, and all of a sudden, every brand wants to have their own sauce with the little squirt tips, just so that you can drizzle a lot easier. So what did I do? Instead of creating more sauces, I just bought a bunch. These are the ones I'm using currently. I am not in no way saying you have to have any of these. I just think it is great for presentation. We got the Wall sauce right here, Wall burgers. I highly recommend their actual burgers. But anyway, found this little gem. It works great on burgers. It works great with fries. This is a salsa verde street taco sauce. Same little gimmick. You squirt it like that. Helps the presentation. Taco Bell Baja. If you like Taco Bell, which you should, you've probably had a taco that has Baja sauce in it. The last two, Old El Paso creamy salsa verde and queso sauce. These probably squirt the best in terms of getting that nice presentation, getting that nice little zigzag drizzle. You don't have to do this. Like I said, this is for somebody who's aspiring to have something a little more aesthetically pleasing, somebody who's posting their pictures online and videos and things like that. So I just wanted to throw that out there. It is not necessary, but it does come in handy. So I hope you enjoyed this video. We covered a lot of things today. We talked about salts, seasonings, sauces, thermometers, knives, and other equipment. It takes time to build up your collection, so don't feel discouraged if you can't just go online and order all these things right away and have it all ready. It took me time to build and add to this collection here. And this isn't everything, but these are some things that should get you ahead of all of your friends and other people who cook as well. Now, I tell you all the time, I try to make things simple. I try to make things easy for you guys because not everybody has access to exotic things, right? Exotic materials, whatever it is. We don't always have access to that. So I'm giving you simple instructions, simple tips. And I've told you this before, so I gotta tell you again, honestly, if this doesn't help you and you still fuck it up, you just need to stop cooking. You're probably gonna lose your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, your wife to somebody who can cook. So, but this is your chance to stop that from happening. So tune back in for my next episode. I don't know what it's gonna be yet. I'm toying with a few ideas, but I'm gonna cook something soon just to, make sure you guys don't forget that I still do this on the regular. Anyway, thanks again. I'll see you soon. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you.